Thank you very much, Christopher. It's just under 2 years ago that I travelled to Ferrara in Italy in order to take part in the annual festival organised by Internazionale, the terrific Italian magazine, which has a close relationship with Roberto Saviano as well. And I was asked to take part in an event with Saviano on stage. And you know, as an author, what one is used to is an audience of 50 or 60 very intense, intelligent, smart people who are listening to what you say and coming back with critical remarks. And so, you know, as one does, that's what one expects. And so I walked onto the stage in Ferrara to find about 3,000 people in front of me, all screaming, obviously not for me. And I was the sort of warm-up act. I had to tell a few jokes in Italian, which is, anyway, after they're tired of that, which was very quickly, on walked Saviano, and the entire theatre rose. And this was being transmitted all over Ferrara. There were huge screens in the square outside of the theatre. There were cinemas that had been given over to this event, and people had paid money to go to the cinemas to see this. And he walked on stage, and it was just, it was hysterical. And so for the first and last time in my life, I understood what it was to be the backing band for the Rolling Stones. And this really was what it felt like. But more than that, and really importantly, is at that moment I understood, because I had been a year earlier in another festival in Italy when I had spoken with a magistrate, an anti-mafia investigator, who had worked with the great Falcone in Sicily, the magistrate in Sicily who was blown up in 1993. And when I spoke with this magistrate at a festival who'd worked with him, I was struck by the number of people who were there to listen to this man because he knew Falcone. That Falcone was a symbol for everything that is decent and good about Italy. And what I realized in Ferrara 2 years ago was that Saviano, regardless of what he writes is good, bad, indifferent, moving, not moving, it doesn't matter. He has become the embodiment of the hopes of those millions and millions of Italians who are utterly sick with the corrupted institutions that they have to face on a daily basis, and with the deeply corrupted politicians that those institutions throw up, and which we, as members of the European Union in particular, put up with, give credence to, take holidays with, in the case of some leaders, and give them credibility. And Saviano is the person in Italy, more than anyone else at the moment, who represents the hopes and the aspirations of millions of decent Italians. And that is why his position is so difficult, not just because of the fact that were he to walk out of the front door without his 5 carabinieri minders, not just because he might get machine gunned on the street, whether it's in Rome or whether it's in London or whether it's in Stockholm or New York or Montreal, but because of the fact that he carries those hopes. And somehow Roberto now has the burden to transmit the political will, which to my mind undoubtedly exists in Italy, to confront both the informal state actors of the Gomorrah, of the 'Ndrangheta, and of the mafia, but also the formal state actors of Berlusconi and the pyramid which keeps Berlusconi up there. That is his burden. He somehow has to translate that power of popular sentiment into a political force. And that may be too much for Roberto, because he's only one man, and he lives under an incredible amount of stress. But I believe if anybody in Italy can do it, it is Roberto Saviano. And so for that reason, as an Englishman, as a British person, as a committed European patriot, I would like us all to raise our glasses to Roberto Saviano. A Roberto.